Hey guys, it's a continuation of named query what I explained in last video. So here is a little bit explanation about last video what I explained. So if you see the employee class, we have one named query and that name is employee by ID and name. So we are going to fetch the data using named query by name and ID. So we can say ID is equal to here is named placeholder and the name is equal to named placeholder first name. So here I'm going to use that named query. So we are supplying that name and we are getting that query object. So we need to supply the named placeholder. So named placeholder user ID, this user ID is what I used here and it's a first name. So those things I'm going to specify here. So for the user ID, I'm just taking the information from here. Employee ID is 1. So for user ID, we are going to supply employee ID 1. First name, it's a hard code, it's Dibya 1. So it's going to fetch that record for the user ID 1 and name Dibya 1. So it's internally how it's going to work. Select asterisk from employee where ID is equal to 1 and first name is equal to Dibya. So it's going to execute the SQL like that and it's going to fetch the record. So now run that code and need to check. So if I run that code, then the result size is 1 and we got the first record. So here employee ID and so like if you analyze the SQL, then I think it's a good to exactly know what or the SQL it's generated. So select employee ID as EMP ID. So these things is Hibernate using internally. So we are going to select employee ID, first name, last name. These are the things from employee table where EMP ID is equal to question mark and employee first name is equal to question mark. So these question mark information we are going to supply from here. Like we are aware about that in JDBC prepared statement. So whatever question mark is there, those things we are going to replace using that 0 and 1. So here it's a named placeholder. So I supplied like that and it's going to fetch that entire record. Now I'm going to show you how to use pagination using the named query. So we need to fetch that entire record. Then we can specify. So for entire record, we have a named query, all employee. So we need to supply that all employee. It's going to fetch that entire employee record. So we need to change whatever changes record in our code. So that query object is going to fetch all the record. So but here we are going to put some condition. Query dot set first result. So first result I set 0 and then query dot set max result. Max result we are going to supply 3. So it's going to fetch 3 record 1 2 3. So let's check it how many record is going to fetch. The record size is 3 and we will get first, second, third record. So like first, second, third record is what in our DB. So like first, second, third is there. So we will get Dibya 1, Rajesh and Ajay. We need to run this. So we will see Dibya, Rajesh and as a record we got it. So if we specified 0, then it's going to fetch from the first record. So that first row, it's going to treat as a 0, like array indexing. So if we are changing here, one more thing I need to explain here. And for the set max result is there. Set max result is nothing but the limit of record, how many record I want to fetch from the DB. So like the limit is 3. So in SQL we are seeing we will get only 3 record while fetching this. And suppose here we are going to change 3, then it's going to fetch from 4. So from 4, but it's going to get 4, 5th, 6. Like it's going to get that 3 record only. So let's need to run. So it's going to 4, 7, 8. 4, 7, 8 means this 3 record is going to get it, because 5th and 6th is not there, it's deleted. So we are getting 3 records. So suppose here we supplied like more value, which is now like more value, like we can say 6. This record is not there in DB. So from 6 record, or we can say we can supply 10. Means we know that this from the starting how many rows we have. We have only 6 rows, and we are specifying 10. Means from the result set we are going to move that result set cursor 10 number, and we are going to fetch from there 3 record. But what happened, it's not there, so it's going to return the list size as a 0. We need to run and check. So here see the record size is 0. Means if we are specifying something more which is not there, then it's going to return the list size as a 0. Means it's not going to fetch any record. So like these are the pagination. These things I also explain in the HQL query. So you can refer the HQL video what I explained earlier. So I think it's good to know about the pagination. So now I'm going to tell about how to use update named query, because the same thing I explained through HQL, but I'm explaining with the help of named query. So update by ID. Update by ID, what is saying that set long, and then we need to check in named query what we use, positional placeholder, or okay. So here we are use named placeholder. So if named placeholder, then we are specify so like named placeholder. One more second. So like user ID is equal to long, and here we are going to supply emp id, and like here we are going to supply that name. So it's a named placeholder, we need to supply those name which we are choosing here. We can say that let's check for the name of employee first. Employee first is Divya1. So we are going to say DIVYA Divya1 updated, and then after updation it's going to return the affected record. So like we can say result is equal to query query dot execute update, So like updated is equal to, we can say, a result. Now this one is not required because we are not going to process it. So let's run this. So we can see here in our DB, now it's a Dibya1. After updating it, have to update Dibya1 updated. So we can see one record updated. So let's check in DB. Once we are checking, so here we see, so for the first row, Dibya1 got updated with the Dibya1 updated. So we are seeing that how the, with the help of named query, how we can update the record. Or here we have delete by id named query. So if delete by id named query, so record like deleted. So here if we see that SQL query, so here delete from employee where id is equal to user id. So we are use the named placeholder. So what happened for this user id 1, I want to delete the record. So now whatever Dibya1 updated is there, same thing I'm going to delete this. So let's run that code. So here's a record deleted one. If I'll go in database and run that same SQL again, so that first record, first row record, employee ID 1 record is not there. So it's not there. So means that first row is not there. So it started with 2 Rajesh. So that record one got deleted it. So these are the, I think nothing is left to explain here. So basically what are the things I see here, I just explained how to fetch all employee record from employee, first name of employee. Suppose you want to fetch only first name of employee, then what are the SQL query we are going to write it. Suppose you want to fetch the first name and last name of employee, then what are the SQL query we are going to write it. Suppose you want to fetch based on the employee by ID using positional placeholder, then how we are going to write the SQL query. Suppose employee by ID and name, and we are going to specify named placeholder. So here we need to remember what is the difference between named placeholder and positional placeholder. So for the position placeholder, we are supplying the, like it's a index 0. So we are going to supply index 0 and we need to set something ID record. So we are going to fetch those record. If we are using named placeholder, so we can use named and then corresponding data, and then it's going to fetch those record, and then update by ID and delete by ID. So these are the things what I focused in the named query. So I think named query second video is done. So guys, thank you so much. And there is a we can say request is there. Once you like those HQL named query, and if you have any suggestion for me to update something or to regarding Hibernate, then you can write as a comment. Thank you so much.